Welcome, everyone, to today's episode of Empowering You TV. I am so excited that you're here today with us. My name is Aime Hutton, and I'm your host for this show. I am now in Calgary, Alberta, but I grew up in Pickering, Ontario, which is about 20 minutes east of Toronto. Each episode, you will hear remarkable stories of women who've beaten the odds, risen above all challenges, and are now living their amazing lives full on like the women they're born to be. For more information or to be featured on the Empowering You TV show, please reach out to me, Aime at inchbyinchempowerment.com. And I am booking for the rest of September into October, November, and beyond. New dates have opened up, so message me and let's get you in right away. For today's show, I'm so excited to introduce you to my friend Michele. And Michele and I have known each other actually through Facebook for a few number of years now, and we finally met in person last October, November, somewhere in there. So it was great to finally meet her in person, and she's up to amazing things. But let me just tell you a snapshot of who she is. Michele Nordhoff is a writer, motivational speaker, and a suicide survivor. As a young child, her story was created, one that she believed about herself, beginning a long struggle with intense emotional pain and the longing to end it all. In 2016, Michele experienced an awakening deeper than anything she had ever encountered before in her life. She saw how her old story had been a lie to distract her from discovering her true self and the message she was called to share. Michele has embarked on a new path to rewrite her story, not only to change her life, but to help others break the lies of their old stories and to find freedom in who they are meant to be in the world. Wow, Michele, I am so excited to have you here today. How are things?
They are fantastic, and I have to say, you have been such a tremendous blessing and inspiration in my life. And yeah, we met each other through Facebook a while ago, and it was October last year through Women Talk. And just through that venture and kind of where my life is, 12 months later, you've been a very key part of that and just the experience. So I just want to say thank you for that. And I'm really excited to be here today, and hopefully that through our conversation that we can just make a difference. That's what's important to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So I know where you are in the world, but how about you share with everybody else where you are?
It's fascinating because as I try to, in my mind, we kind of always ask ourselves the question, who are we? Where are we in the world? And, sometimes that can be more complicated than it needs to be. And then other times you do kind of question, what does that truly mean? Is that, about the physical environment, or is that about those deeper things? And I guess because of where I'm at in my life, I do a lot of analyzing because I look for everything that's kind of a tool that will help me as I go along. So a little bit about me. My name's Michele Nordhoff. Thank you again for inviting me here today. A little snapshot about me is that I'm a wife of over 30 years, a mother, a grandmother of 5. I grew up in a small community just south of Calgary in southern Alberta, and I currently live in Okotoks. I've been here since 1993.
Oh, nice. That's cool. Yeah, and Okotoks is, I swear it'll be part of Calgary eventually one day. It's south of Calgary by, I'd say, half an hour, 45 minutes, roughly?
The south end of Calgary town limit sign to the coming into town for Okotoks is probably 10 to 15 minutes.
So yeah, even
close.
Shorter. Yeah, very close. Yeah. So I shared in your bio part of your story, but let's go into that a bit more. So what in your life have you overcome, and care to share your story briefly with us?
I find that there's been a lot of life experiences that I've had, and as they kind of intertwine into each other, and I, look to trying to discover what it is that I've overcome and where it is I'm kind of going, I did have to think, about that for a while. And I would say for me, I'm kind of at a place right now is that I'm finally at a place where I'm okay with living. A lot of people take it for granted. They wake up every day, they take the first breath, and off they go. But for me in my life journey, that hasn't been the case. So as a young child, there was messages that were fed into who I was as a young child. And the stories that I created were things that I would always be wrong, and I would never be good at anything. That I was not worthy, I was not important, that I simply wasn't enough. I was an inconvenience, I was a bother, I was a mistake. There was a lot of things that fed into kind of the foundation of who I believed that I was. And I think at this point, because there's been so much stuff that's happened in my life's awakening for me, I just, so hard to articulate the importance of now living and how dying would have been better all my life. But, I can finally come to a place now that I'm happy to be living and that I love myself, and not that my journey is perfect yet, but that has been huge for me. And it was just a number of things that happened over, a period of months where I really started to break down the lies that had been told in my life, and I started creating a way to replacing those lies with new truths. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and kind of a brief glimpse of the story of my life.
Thank you for sharing it. It takes courage and just taking that breath and saying, yeah, I'm okay sharing this. So thank you for that. Now, if you could change anything though that you've experienced in your life, or that's happened to you in your life, in your past, what would that be, and why, or why not? Or would you keep everything as it is or was?
Wow, that's a really complex question. I do look over things in my life and see that had I made different decisions or different choices, that absolutely everything from that point would have went in a different direction. At the same time, though, because I've traveled the journey that I have, I have my current husband, I have my children, I have my life as it is now. So I wouldn't change anything, simply for the reason that I wouldn't be here in this moment right now, and I'm really trusting the journey. Mm-hmm. So yeah, even though I can think of times, I was in a very abusive relationship, and having left would have been very healthy for me, but I chose to stay, and there were dynamics for that. Out of that is blessings that I see in my life now. So as tough as some parts of the journey are, I'm very grateful for each step that I've done so far.
Yeah, I know I get asked the same too. It's like, well, would you change anything that you experienced in your life? And I'm like, yes, no. Like, it would have been great to not experience a couple of the things that I did, but really it's made me who I am today. So yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So Michele, what is your why? Why do you do what you do today?
I'm at a place where I recognize, first of all, that I wasn't a mistake, and that I'm not an exception to the rule. So, I come out of a Christian faith where, I was, all through the scriptures it talks about how wonderfully and beautifully made we are, and I always felt somehow that I must be the exception because of those lies and those stories that I believed in for so long. So now that I'm at a place and I'm going, wow, like I really have a reason for being here, and I have a purpose, and I have a calling. That creates the passion that drives me to continue to break down everything in my life that isn't meant to be there, and how important it is that I serve others by sharing that message that, I don't know how many of us are out there that have, these crazy beliefs about ourselves, and anyone that's kind of walked through that path of suicide and wanting to end it all. I mean, that's just not normal and healthy when the rest of the world looks at it, but it felt very normal and healthy for me at that point in time. So the fact that I'm seeing the truth and seeing my authentic truth, that is my why to share my message. And I hope that I can help others that are struggling through their life journeys and really find the core essence and their truth.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good why. Yeah, the journey of the choosing to consider to end your life, like that is a journey, a big journey. So I'm pretty sure that this must go into what you do for your business. So how about we talk about that? What is your business about, and what do you do?
That's really fascinating, because I'm just kind of embarking now on what I want to see my future to look like, and setting those intentions. One of the fascinating things for me over the past year is that I've reconnected to writing. And that writing has been therapeutic. It is also starting to create a foundation for what I really want to do. And I want to write books, and I want to be able to share my life journey and the lessons I've learned out of that, and hopefully, even come to the point where I can, do workshops and provide resources and tools for others to help them along the way as well. Yeah, I just have this grand vision of being able to thank back to the universe that I am here, and to also stand behind the mic and be able to share from the mic my life journey and my stories. And it's interesting, because when I was 5, that was the first time I ever stepped on a stage. It was a little community school at a Christmas party. And there was something in that moment that I knew that I belonged there. But as life took its journeys and the direction that I went, there was a time and place where I stepped off that stage, and I vowed actually never to return to the stage again. It was hurtful and it was painful. But fortunately, through some great circumstances, I've stepped back forward on that. And now I can stand there with the mask off. This is me. This is who I am. I'm imperfect, but I'm authentic. And that's the business that I want to be able to create moving forward, that I can, be a motivational speaker and just help others.
That's awesome. That sounds so cool. Now, I know you are a co-director, I believe the right term is, co-director of Women Talk Okotoks. So do you want to take a minute to share what that's all about?
Yes, that would be fantastic. Of course, your invitation to Okotoks Calgary, Women Talk Calgary last October really opened a door for me. Just being in that event for that evening, there was something about just coming where I could just be, and I could be encouraged, I could be inspired, I could be empowered. And how I felt as a guest, I just knew in that moment that our community in Okotoks needed the same thing. So working with the founder of Women Talk, Bridget Lessard-Dial, I was able to, along with a fantastic team, including Sam Bell and some fabulous volunteers, January this year, we launched Women Talk Okotoks, and we run the events once a month. And this has been fascinating to me, because this is where I'm discovering the writing that I'm doing, because I often do the motivational moments. And that has been very important in healing part of the journey for me, as well as just knowing that the women that come each evening, that there's an intention there for them, for why they have shown up. Sometimes, women will show up at the last minute, not even know why at the beginning of the evening, and then just know at the end of the evening that there has been something in the talker stories. We have amazing talkers every month, and just the connections they make during that evening. So that's been very excited. And yeah, we're already working towards our first year in Okotoks. So I'm looking forward to what's going to be coming up in the next few months.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Now, do you have a story or someone who's come to Women Talk, or a testimonial that you can share of either thing? Even if you're just starting your business that you're doing, has anyone already said, thank you, you've helped me? Or a story of someone who's come to Women Talk and they've been blown away, or like a testimonial or a share of a thank you?
There is, every evening at Women Talk, you can tell as the women leave just how it's impacted them, and that's always awe-inspiring to me. I think February, I really shared from my heart the life lesson that I was trying to create for myself. So part of my journey is
Oh, come on. We're having technical difficulties right now. Please stand by. We will be back. So welcome back, everyone, after a technical difficulty. Michele, you were talking about Women Talk and the testimonials, or what the women say to you. So continue on with that.
Yeah, so what I was saying, that I find each evening at Women Talk, as women leave, you just know by the atmosphere of just how much either a talker's message has resonated with them, or just the connections that they make during the course of the evening. And I found particularly for me in February, I shared a piece that was really about kind of my own creating the core essence of me and learning how to love myself. And I had not really thought it completely through when I kind of presented it, and I've got this PowerPoint presentation going, and I'm saying to these women, everything that I say, I want you to repeat after me, thinking that they would just quietly say it to themselves. But as I said the first line and they repeated it, it became this chorus of women saying these words that were designed to fill their cups and fill their very essence. And as I watched the women respond, and as they accepted the words and took it internally, for me, that's probably the biggest piece of testimony that I've had. And it was so encouraging to me because I could do something good for someone else. So that would be it for me.
Awesome. So let's move into a different type of questioning. And how do you stay empowered in your own life?
Every morning as I wake up, I start with closing my eyes, doing this deep breath in. I hold it, I exhale, and I remind myself that I can now be grateful because I'm alive today. For me, it doesn't have to be too complicated at this point, or very complex. It's just breathing in, I'm still here. And that empowers me beyond anything. So I know whatever happens for the rest of the day has been as a result of that very foundation of first thing in the morning. It sets up my attitude, because as long as I can believe in living, everything about me sends a different message out to the world. So that really empowers me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So breathing is one, but is there a book or a movie or a song that empowers you to keep going in your own life?
Hmm. I find music is extremely powerful for me, and I have actually a few songs that when they come on the radio or when I'm needing a moment, I, turn on the CD player. One of them in particular is from the soundtrack for the movie Rent, which is one of my all-time favorite movies. There is something there about the relationship of each of the characters in the movie. And the song Seasons of Love, when I'm getting ready for a play I'm involved in and I'm going to get on the stage, I might, on the way to the church where we do the theater, play it to kind of inspire me. Other times I will play the song because I am feeling at a real down place and it encourages me. So sometimes I'll be driving down the highway and I'll be sobbing uncontrollably, but at the same time it's very therapeutic for me. Another song for me is I Can Only Imagine by Mercy Me. It is really hard to articulate the emotion that I feel with the words. But I think for me, as I look at it now, because I'm okay with living, where there was a time that my most peaceful moment would have been just before I had planned to end it all the last time I was in that place. So that song takes me to a place of gratitude. And when it is my time to go, because I'm being called to go and not because I chose to do that by my own hand, that represents where I'll go from here. So that always inspires me and empowers me. Mm-hmm. When it comes to reading, I'm more of a fictional book kind of gal, and I use it for escape. So, yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I have a funny feeling I know the answer to this question, but what is one simple step that our viewers can do to empower themselves?
I would say basically doing the same thing that I do each morning and setting that foundation through that breath in and breath out. That the fact that you woke up today means that you've got a chance for today, whatever that may be, whatever your wishes, your desires, or dreams may be. That just the simple breath, being filled with gratitude, and sometimes you don't emotionally feel grateful, but you make that choice to stand in gratitude in spite of the challenges. Mm-hmm. And you take 1 minute at a time. Sometimes it's 1 hour, and sometimes you can do as much as a day at a time. Mm-hmm. And yeah, just to keep it simple and to tell yourself, even in those moments where you think you should know all the answers and you don't, it's okay. You only need to be present in this moment.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful, and thank you. Yeah, the breathing and just taking that moment just to breathe for a minute. I was actually running late this morning for work. I have 2 alarms set. I heard the first one at 6 o'clock this morning. I did not hear the 6:30 one go off, and all of a sudden I was having a weird dream about being late, or something about being late for work or running behind or something, and I opened my eyes and it was 7:35. I leave for work at 7:30. So it was a total run, like, throw on clothes, get out the door, grab something for lunch and for breakfast, and out I went. And but then when I got to work only maybe somewhere between 2 and 5 minutes after 8 o'clock, so I wasn't too bad really. And I had to take a second though just to breathe. I'm like, okay, you made it to work. And look, one of the higher up people are just arriving now anyways, so it's okay. Is what I went with.
It's okay.
Okay. So yeah.
And sometimes in those moments too, the fact that your schedule was changed and some of your routine was changed. I always look at when I leave for work and I'm 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late, what events are not going to occur because of the change of time. So I might have missed a car accident that would have made my day look a whole lot different.
Yeah.
So I'm learning to, with joy, be okay when things go a little bit differently than planned, because I know it speaks to a larger something that could be or not be happening.
Yeah. Oh, totally. For sure. Yeah. So Michele, what is one message you would want to tell the next generation of girls about empowering themselves? So for example, if you could go back in time and tell your 11-year-old self something, what would that be?
Yeah. You know, the first thing I would do is I would take my 11-year-old self and I would hold her, and I would hold her tight. And I would pour love into her and start to fill all those dark places with, light and safety and security. And I would tell her a long list of things that she needs to pour into herself. I would tell her she's amazing, she's beautiful, she's worthy of love and affection. She wasn't a mistake. She's strong. She's a survivor. And that she is enough. I think all of our young people, boys or girls, need to know that they are perfect just as they are, and that their validation needs to come from inside and not from the world around them, because the world isn't a perfect place. Even the people closest to us in our lives and the people that we look up to as we're growing up for those guidance and direction and for how we see ourselves and how we'll eventually see others around us, they're imperfect. They can only speak sometimes from their own life experiences, their own wounds and hurts. My biggest thing was I looked for validation all the time from the outside. And if I thought that somebody was disappointed in me or I was not making the grade, immediately I would go, okay, you know what? I don't belong in this world. This world doesn't need me, and it's time to end it all. And I would repeat that cycle. So I know now that just validation from within makes a huge difference. And it's telling ourselves enough that we come to a place that we can say, I love me, and that's okay. And I think that if enough of us do that, and young women of today do that, hopefully that we can start to break the barriers that around all the things that go on with peers. And, I watch and it's all the, well, I have to have that outfit because so-and-so has it, and I need to behave like this because I need to fit into that group. But if we could tell our 11 and 12-year-olds how to love themselves and validate themselves from the inside, all of a sudden you have a whole group of these girls. Those are going to be world changers. So that's what I would love to be able to share.
That's awesome. Yeah, because that's what I do is I work with that age group specifically and a little older, and it's totally going to be yourself. Like, be okay with being yourself, and it's all right to want to do band or want to go into science or want to go into tech or go into outdoor nature-y type activities. Like, it's all okay, and it's all fine. So yeah. Who, Michele, is someone you want to thank? Who inspires you to be your best self? Who's helped you when you're going through a difficult time? If you could write a thank you card to that person, who is that person and what would it say?
Wow. I find currently in my life, I am surrounded by incredible women. And each of these women provide to me, resources at a very deep level through their friendship, their compassion, their caring, the wisdom and the journeys that they have walked that just helps each day for me to learn, develop, grow, build myself up. And I am just in awe by these amazing, incredible women. However, there are two very specific women that are a part of my life. In fact, you may know both of them as Sylvie Van Steeneven and Jennifer Gardner. So, interestingly enough, I met Sylvie through Facebook, and it was through some sort of event that actually never did take place. But I started to follow her journey, and it was her attitude and her belief in life and her, as she calls it, her kick-ass attitude as she goes through each day that, really caught my eye, and I started to notice that. And then through her, I met Jen, our famous Jen Unplugged for the world. And there was something about Jen. Here she is, stage 4 colorectal cancer. Lots of people just quit. And Jen never quit. And she loved life. And she fought so hard for life. And I think my first lesson that I learned through Sylvie and Jen and watching their journey was that as hard as they were fighting for their life, I didn't have a right to take my life for granted and throw it away by killing myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't always feel the emotion that supported living, but I knew at that point in time that I couldn't disrespect them in that way by just throwing my life away. So my thank you to both of them is that I am thankful for their journey, their story, for their love of life, for showing me how beautiful life is and how important each of us is in the world, and that we all have a purpose, we all have a message. And I would say, thank you for showing me how to live life out loud, fiercely, and with kick-ass shoes on any given day. Yeah. So, and every day I am so grateful and thankful to both of them. Mm-hmm. I'm here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I never got to meet Jen, but I know a lot about her, and she's pretty remarkable. And Sylvie is amazing too. So those are two good thank you cards. I agree. Yeah, those are pretty awesome. So, Michele, what is coming up that our viewers should know about? Like, when's the next Women Talk Okotoks dinner or event? Did I lose you again?
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me? Huh. Thank you, everyone, actually, for all your patience today with our technical fairies that are hopping around. And Michele just said the energy through the internet today must be going funky because it is a full moon today, too. So that might be part of the reasoning. But I had just asked Michele what is coming up that our viewers need to know about. So thinking Women Talk Okotoks.
Yes, and September 19th, Women Talk Okotoks will be meeting 7 p.m. at the Roma Italian restaurant here in Okotoks. I'm particularly excited about this upcoming event because this will be the first time that I'm going to openly share my life journey and my story. And so it's going to be quite an aha moment for me, and I hope through the message that I share that it will, speak into the lives and hearts of those who need to hear the message.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Michele, what's another intention you've set for yourself, or what's like you want to see with your business expanding?
That's a great question. I know that I've been really focusing on identifying myself at this point as a writer and as a motivational speaker. And through my experiences, really bringing to paper that message, that story, and also through standing behind the mic. And yeah, my intention would be to be an international motivational speaker and to, you know, share the story that I think so many needs to hear. For each time each one of us changes something positive in our life, it's not just us that changes. It's like when you drop a pebble into the pond, and we've seen that illustration many times of the ripple effect.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
But that's how we change the world.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. Now, Michele, what's the best way to contact you? You can speak about your business, and you can also give us a contact information for Women Talk.
Absolutely. So the best ways to reach me is through Facebook. I'm a Facebook junkie. So you just look my name.
Oh. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm pausing because of technology fairies that are having a grand old time with us. Be right back. Wow, everyone, what a night. So, Michele, you were just explaining your Facebook junkie, but how can they contact you? Go.
So the best way to connect me is through my website at www.tappingintothewellspringofhope.com or through womentalk.ca.
So, Michele, tell us about the Women Talk website.
So you can reach Women Talk at www.womentalk.ca, and there's a number of links on that page so you could get the information that you need.
That's awesome. Thanks, Michele, for being on our show. Do you have any final words of wisdom you want to share with our viewers today?
I think the most important thing that I would want the viewers to know is that we have a purpose. We have a calling in this world, that each of us have our own authentic truth that comes from within us. That most importantly for me was learning about validation from the inside rather than the outside, because that set up the foundation for how I was able to start walking through a journey of healing. And never give up. Every breath that you take is one that you're meant to take, and you just keep moving forward. And never feel like you walk this journey alone, because there's always someone that is out there that can give you a hand and be there for you and support you.
Awesome. Thank you, Michele, so much. And thanks to our viewers for going through our technical difficulties we've been having tonight. I'm so grateful for you. Michele, just hang on a second and I'll talk to you in a minute. So that's our show for the day today, everyone. If you want to be featured on Empowering You TV, just like our guest today, Michele, then reach out to me. I would love to feature you on the show to spread your message on a global scale. Remember, everyone, inch by inch, you can overcome anything that's in front of you. I do believe in you, and I know you can get through anything. Till next time, be brave, be bold, and be yourself. Take care.